Hi, my name's Lindy and welcome to the channel. My website is www.lindycowling.co.uk. My email is info@lindycowling.co.uk, and this unexpected video this evening is called The Answer to Masculine Energy Derailment. The answer to the masculine energy derailment. I'm terribly excited to be doing this video this evening, although it was totally unexpected, because I had not expected to get the definitive answer to the question that has bothered me for quite some years, but particularly within this last year, and that question being, why is there and has there been and why does there continue to be a derailment of the anchoring of masculine energy consciousness within a male, but also masculine energy within the female, so the masculine energy within males and females, not just a masculine. Why has there been a worldwide phenomena and pattern of that particular expression of energy within being derailed at the definitive moment of when that consciousness and energy is due to be anchored? In other words, derailed when the person is just about to become the anchored embodiment, the sovereign embodiment of who they truly are in a balanced masculine and feminine form. This has been something that has, let's say, troubled me for some time, having been on the receiving end of it and seen the devastating results, but also having seen a worldwide pattern for many years of this at the 11th hour. This video, in a way, links in slightly to the video I brought out yesterday on data transfer, but it also heavily links into a video I brought out, which name escapes me now. I'm just trying to think of the name of that video. The Trip Switch on Consciousness. The video was called The Trip Switch on Consciousness, which I brought out probably a month or 6 weeks ago. This is now one step further on from that, but a huge leap further on than that. All thanks really to this swimming around in the mix in my own consciousness, and to having the delight of working with somebody who is part of that template, that 0-point field of conscious matching consciousness, twin flame expression of energy, the pure form of it, working with someone who is in the middle of that. And what happens is it takes one to know one. Sometimes when you work with someone that's in that template or on that trajectory, pieces of the puzzle fall into place for them while I'm working energetically for them on their behalf. But also, if there's the bigger picture, pieces of the answer to that bigger picture fall into place for me, which I can then bring to you. So they don't fall in just for me personally. Bigger pictures, bigger parts of the information fall into place so that I can then share them with you. I can only share them with you when I have assimilated them within myself, but in this case I can give you a big smile and say I have. So I'm terribly excited to share this. Now, I literally have only just had the answer and the resolution to this in the last 20 minutes, and it's a big thanks to the lovely lady connected with that I was working with today that's put those final dots in place. What happened is, as the information was coming through me, I was literally learning it and getting it as I was going along, so that I can now share it with you guys. On that video I brought out on the trip switch to consciousness, I say in there that there is a worldwide pattern and phenomena of men, particularly men, but also the masculine expression of energy within women, the masculine energy within all of us, having been the most likely part of us on a worldwide phenomena pattern. This isn't speculation. To at the 11th hour, when the masculine expression of energy, whether it's a male or a masculine energy within a female, is about to come into their own and anchor that consciousness and become the embodiment and become a fifth dimensional expression of their heart portal anchored sovereign consciousness within, they suddenly go completely about field and turn away from it, turn away from love instead of turning into love, or turn away from consciousness instead of turning into consciousness, or turning unconscious instead of becoming fully conscious. And this phenomenon is all over the world, and I've seen it up close and personal 3 different occasions now with different connections, including twin flame. How this works and how this is happening is, there is an old form of consciousness, linear consciousness, which is heavily magnetic. As expressions of spirit essence that come down into the soul, the vehicle of the soul, the vehicle of the soul is also heavily magnetic. Soul energy is heavier, denser, magnetic energy, as is old consciousness, which is heavily aligned with soul energy. How it works is, if a masculine expression of energy in a male, or masculine expression of energy within us as a female, masculine expression of energy as a whole, is running high levels of unconscious belief systems, high levels of programming, high levels of subconscious programming, high levels of linear thought processes, high levels of conditioning. It is at that point that if they are still aligned within themselves with that old consciousness, that they can be more likely magnetically attracted and pulled towards that which is old consciousness outside of them. Not just the old consciousness within them, they can be magnetically pulled towards, called towards the old consciousness outside of them. That old consciousness outside of them is not, we don't just have around us in the ethers, in the energetic realms. Everything's energy, we're all energy. We don't just have around us new 0 point clean, pure templates and blueprints of energy. There are also old paradigms of energy, old templates and old blueprints that are quite heavily magnetic and dense. One of these old blueprints that is intrinsically connected with relationship consciousness and the old relationship paradigm and the masculine energy within us and the actual male masculine energy, one of these main blueprints of consciousness for humanity has been tampered with. A chromosome within that blueprint has been tampered with and now looks like a blue rectangle. This is not a new tampering. It has been there for a very long time. It has a default mechanism on it that when masculine energy within a female or masculine energy as a male, as a man, as a boy, when they reach a point in their evolution where they are about to trip into the consciousness of the rungs of the heart, starting at a fifth dimensional level of consciousness, this tampered with chromosome on this blueprint kicks in. And if the masculine energy within the female or the masculine energy, the male, has old consciousness traces within them, or has not cleared the old consciousness within them, or is being heavily influenced by old consciousness outside of them magnetically, this trip switch, or this blue rectangular chromosome, I see it as a blue rectangle, activates by a default mechanism intentionally designed to make the masculine energy within and the masculine energy as a male, to make them reroute their consciousness back into the old relationship paradigm, the old paradigm, the old programming and the old consciousness, the unconsciousness, the subconsciousness, the ego brain, the reptilian brain, the analytical brain, all wired in the same, by the same default mechanism, which has been genetically engineered to kick in at the point that the masculine energy is about to be anchored. Anchored within a male, as in a man or a boy, anchored within us as women that carry the masculine energy within us as well. It is the masculine side of the energy that has been tampered with. At one level of a person's evolution, we could call this tampering at a 3D linear level an implant. But as the individual rises up to a level of consciousness that is beyond the level perception and conception, and keeps going up in their consciousness, the same blueprint affects them according to the level of evolution and consciousness they have reached, that individual. So a non-linear conscious human being going through their journey that has got to a higher level of consciousness can only be affected by that blue rectangular chromosome default mechanism designed to derail the masculine energy at the level of consciousness they're at. So it's an etheric blue rectangle at that point, and not really a more organic one. what levels can this blue chromosome default mechanism designed to derail the masculine, what level does it operate at? It operates at fourth dimensional level as well, not just third. It operates at fourth dimensional because once one gets into fifth dimensional rungs of heart consciousness, it can no longer affect them. The next question you're going to ask is, how can the blue rectangle on the masculine chromosome etherically, organically, according to the consciousness that the individual is at, how can it be deactivated? Number one, it can be deactivated by the overall awareness and consciousness and information getting out that this is what it is. Number two, it can be neutralized, and actually, depending on what level of consciousness the individual is at, it can be neutralized using the medium of sound, using visuals, using active meditation where one actually has visualization of removing the blue rectangular chromosome. If one goes down the route of removing the chromosome, the blue rectangle that's been put over that chromosome, how it's being advised to be done is to neutralize it first. Don't remove it as blue. It's going to sound strange what I'm going to say, but if you had the bomb squad called in and you clipped the wrong wire, that wouldn't be, the whole thing would go off. I don't mean that in a negative way, that's the way I'm getting it easily to explain it. What one does, if one decides to etherically remove the blue default trip switch on that masculine consciousness, one neutralizes it first to the color of green. One neutralizes it to green. One can visualize it green. One can have a mantra about it being green. One can see it as green, you know, picture it as green. Take it to the color of green first if one is going to remove it etherically before removing it etherically. So don't remove it as blue. Change the blue to green, then remove it. It can also be done without doing it that way. It can be done by just the acknowledgement that it's there, and then saying, okay, that's there, I don't want that in my system. And that sounds really simple, but as simple as that. The awareness is everything, because your awareness changes the consciousness. It can also be neutralized or removed by someone that knows what they're doing to etherically do it, or even doing it through certain healing modalities will do it. Certain sounds will do it. Just feeling if there's anything else in there that I'm not getting. So sound, certain modalities of healing will do it. A more organic linear level it would literally be done on a more earthbound level there, almost like removing an implant really. For the purposes of this video, I'm focusing more on the etheric levels of it. A linear way of looking at this is within the twin flame community, or within the twin flame union, or within that whole arena. There has been constantly spoken about for years, and I've spoken about them for years as well, the whole runner-chaser dynamic. This information coming now means that the runner-chaser dynamic, some of that runner-chaser dynamic is to do with their own core soul wounds. Some of it is not facing their own stuff. Some of it is other stuff, as I've covered many times on this channel. But now we know that some of it, and I would go as far as to say as high as as high as 70%, 75% of it is this. And it's at a point when a masculine energy, the masculine within, the masculine outside, some people call it the divine masculine, within and without, has got to a point in their evolution where they have tasted the elixir of who they truly are. They have tasted the elixir of enlightenment. They have tasted the elixir of their true being. They have tasted the elixir of full consciousness. They have tasted the elixir of the 0-point quantum heart. And their frequency has then dropped a little bit, which has hit all the things within them, the pain body, the core soul wounds, the inner child stuff, all of that stuff, round and round it goes. As the frequency has dropped a bit, it's come up against different things like that. But a big chunk of the reasons, so that's a chunk of stuff as why they, let's say, back away from it or have to go away to process it or spend great deals of time apart to rebalance it within themselves and work all this stuff out and come into a balanced state of homeostasis or equilibrium within. But a big chunk of it is also this, that there has been a deliberate tampering on consciousness, which has been there really since the early days of humanity, not for our best. It was a deliberate tampering, not for our evolution, our best evolution, to actually derail us from that. And that is there as a blueprint. It's like, and let me track back to the video I brought out yesterday on data transferring between twin flames. There are similarities between this video and what I am saying. One way of saying it is there is a corruption to that data, but this is a blueprint or a circuit board. I'm even seeing it like a circuit board that we imprint on, or that is inserted in that consciousness. We imprint it on. It's like the blueprint for humanity on a consciousness level. Not so much on an organic level of how human beings are made. It's how we function as consciousness, which is everything. And I've got, look at that again, that light. Oh, I need it to come there, don't I? I'm just squatting down a bit here so I can see. It's how we function. I've got this rectangle, white rectangle in my face. Look at that. White rectangle across there from the light. Thanks if that's a sign, Spirit. Perhaps, no, we don't have to neutralize. Oh, okay. Bear with me a moment. Okay, so yeah, so I'm sidetracking here because of the rectangle. I was jokingly, connecting with higher self or my guide team about the white rectangle now on my head, just for a joke, but actually what I'm getting back here is, in answer to that, if you decide to have a go at neutralizing the blue chromosome to green, and remove it, either you might see it in a number of ways to remove that in consciousness, like removing it like with little surgical tools, or but what you will be left with is a pure white, just like I've got on there, if you can see it on camera, a pure white, dazzling white, where that blue default mechanism was put over that chromosome there, which will look beautiful and dazzling white like that. I'm just checking, that's why I'm hesitating. If there are any other ways to remove that. I keep getting consistently awareness is key. So putting this video out there, hopefully it will get to enough people, so enough people have that aha realization moment, and enough people have that aha realization moment, and it tips and changes a point of consciousness, and I believe that's what's going to happen here, but enough people have to see the video. And hopefully that will happen. It's the awareness is key. That will change it, because then people can actually see it. It will shift that consciousness. If they want to do it a way of like visualizing it, removing it. It's quite easy, but don't remove it as blue. For some reason it has to be changed to green in your mind's eye, or in your imagination, or in your thoughts, or in your meditation, or in your mantra, to remove it off there. The question you're probably going to ask me then is, can a masculine within someone, the masculine energy within, or an actual boy or a man, if you're connected to the masculine energy in someone else, in the form of someone else, if that's your connection, can you do it on their behalf? No. They have to be a willing participant for it. So say you were aware of it and you wanted the help from someone else to take that off, or you wanted to do it yourself to remove it, it's fine, but you can't do it on behalf of the masculine energy in someone else, or the male that you're connected to, or the female you're connected to that's running this masculine energy that's been affected, this trip switches on. They have to be, because they are the ones that change their own consciousness. You can't change their consciousness for them. You can influence their consciousness, you can give them the tools to change their consciousness, but you can't change their own inner consciousness that has imprinted or been magnetically drawn towards this old blueprint with this blue rectangular chromosome on it, which is a default mechanism to prevent masculine energy within us and the masculine global energy in men, to prevent them from going into the heart. The last question you're going to ask me is, has it worked in all cases? Because does that mean that no men on the planet and no masculine energy on the planet has gone into the heart? And of course it doesn't mean that. There are certainly cases of men that are beautifully in the heart and this default mechanism hasn't kicked in. And there are certainly many cases of that masculine energy within women where that default mechanism didn't kick in. For various reasons, but there are also millions upon millions of cases where it did kick in and where it's derailed a lot of people. So I really hope that this video helps. Personally, I think it's one of the most important videos I've ever made, and that's an answer to a very deep question that I've had when I actually truly think back now, really think back now to when this question first began. I think it was as early as 2004, on a different level to what I'm at now, completely different level, but that's seeing that kind of patterning then, but this is now, of course, on a whole different level, and the way I'm working and the experiences I've had since then. Who would have thought it? And then the answer dropping in my lap, everything lining up just half an hour ago. Due to connecting with somebody else who is part of a fully conscious template within a divine partnership, those last pieces fell into place as I was unraveling something for her. What a beautiful result that was. So if I get any more on that, I will be up here as soon as I think it's appropriate to be up here. Sometimes I can share stuff very quickly, and because my channel is a template, it's the right thing to do. It shows you step-by-step process, and people log into it according to where they're at in that process at the right time for them. Sometimes I have to really get it and sit with it and assimilate it for myself for a number of weeks or even months or even longer. This was not the case. In this case, I felt I needed to get up here quickly with this, so wasn't expecting to be on camera probably for days yet, but something in me told me just before I worked with that person that I was going to end up on video again tonight, so look at that. Anyway, on that note, I'll love you and leave you as always. Thank you for watching the channel. Thank you for subscribing to this channel. Thank you for supporting me as this channel in all the ways that you do. I'll love you and leave you. Take care of yourself, and see you again soon. Bye.